Um, Speaking of Rosa Parks, she's not black. To be honest, she's not. I'm speaking as somebody from outside. I remember when they showed me, they said, "This is the fighter for the blacks." I said, "How is she black?" For example, my child is mixed, and I tell him that he is mixed. I tell him, I said, "You are not black, you are mulatto." Yeah, so city, like for example, these people that are doing that, they are basically just following the slave laws. And the guy that was saying they want to go back to Africa to their history, their tribal history. I don't think most of you that are FBA that came to the Americas really want to do that, because most of you don't realize this. This is the first time in many centuries, in over 1,000 years, that your bloodline have been freed from slavery. You got to remember, a lot of the people they sold into slavery, they were slaves for over 1,000 years, even in Africa, because they had the trans-Saharan slave trade. Don't forget, for 1,000 years, they already have an established slave market. So yes, they did capture new people, but most of the market was available and they already Africans there. Some of those tribes practiced slavery. They bought and sold people, some of them for sacrifices, some of them, for domestic work. So you don't want to go back there. America is the first time, the white people are the first to free you. Your bloodline finally is no longer in slavery. So, speaking of Rosa Parks, she's not black. To be honest, she's not. I'm speaking as somebody from outside. I remember when they showed me, they said, "This is the fighter for the blacks." I said, "How is she black?" For example, my child is mixed, and I tell him that he is mixed. I tell him, I said, "You are not black, you are mulatto, you know." I said, "You are mulatto, but you are part of our tribe, the Soninke tribe. You are a Soninke mulatto, okay? You are not black like me, you see?" So, yeah, if you are not Negrito, like African, black, sub-Saharan, you are not black. You know, um, these blacks here, you know, they have been bought. They are slaves. So they are holding on to the slave master's rules. Despite the slave master freeing them, they don't want to let go. The light skin, the Kaepernicks and others, they're not gonna want the one drop rule to stop, because the blacks here have low self-esteem. So everyone that comes here uses them to step up. Look at even Mamdani. Mamdani is calling himself black. Tell Mamdani to go to Uganda and call himself black and see. And that's where he's from.
Yeah.
He's not gonna call himself black, because he is not black in Uganda. So even Ilhan Omar, look at Ilhan Omar. She calls herself black. But if I'm, like, for example, some Somalis would tell you they are not black. But everyone that is ambiguous call themselves black is for political reason, because the blacks are dying to claim light-skinned people. Look at the city. They reject you and I. But we are the typical blacks. Like, I'm from the black factory. That's where I was made. But they would tell you I'm not black because I'm not light skinned. But my son, who's got light skin, guess what? They would try to, yeah. But I'm the father. But he black, I am black. You see what I'm saying? So that's the bottom line. Lena Horne, all these people they are claiming, Lionel Richie, all of them, they're not black.
Okay.